Margaret had always dreamed of a house filled with light. Not just any light, but the kind that poured in, chasing shadows, making every corner feel alive and welcoming. When she and Thomas finally saved enough to build their modest cottage in 1695, after years of careful planning and sacrifice, her one non-negotiable demand was for large, generous windows in every single room. "Light is life," she'd often say, her voice soft but firm as she watched her children, rosy-cheeked and full of laughter, play in the golden streams pouring through the glass. It was more than just a house, it was a beacon of their hopes and dreams. But then, in the year 1696, a shadow fell across England, and everything changed for families like Margaret's. King William III, embroiled in costly wars against France, found his treasury severely depleted. Desperate for funds, his advisors devised a seemingly ingenious, yet ultimately cruel solution: a tax on windows. The logic was simple: the more windows you possessed, the wealthier you were presumed to be, and thus the more you would pay. What began as a cold, calculated revenue idea quickly spiraled into an unimaginable nightmare for ordinary families, especially those who, like Margaret and Thomas, had invested so much in their homes. The arrival of the tax collector was an event dreaded across every village and town. For Margaret and Thomas, he appeared on a particularly cold, gray morning in November, his presence chilling the air more than the winter wind. He moved through their small cottage with a methodical, almost clinical detachment, counting each pane, each opening to the outside world. 12 windows, he declared, meant 12 times the base rate, a sum that felt astronomical. Thomas, his hands visibly shaking, tried to calculate the numbers, his brow furrowed with despair. The truth was stark and undeniable. They simply could not afford it, not even close. The dream of light was now a crushing burden. "We have 3 choices," Thomas told Margaret that night, his voice heavy with defeat. "We can try to pay the tax, and in doing so, lose everything else we own, perhaps even the house itself, or we could sell the house, abandon our home, and move somewhere far smaller, far less hopeful, or..." Margaret didn't need him to finish the sentence. She'd already witnessed the grim transformation happening in neighboring cottages, homes across the town. Families, faced with the same impossible choice, were literally bricking up their windows, sealing themselves into a self-imposed darkness, all to avoid the crippling levy. The first window they sealed was in the small, sun-drenched back bedroom, a place where the morning light used to dance. Margaret stood by, her heart aching as the mason laid brick after brick, each one a physical barrier, blocking out not just light, but a piece of their joy, a sliver of their hope. Then came the parlor windows, where they once entertained friends, now shrouded in gloom. And finally, the kitchen, the heart of their home, plunged into perpetual twilight. Their bright, cheerful home, once a sanctuary of warmth and light, slowly, tragically, became a suffocating tomb. The vibrant colors faded, replaced by a pervasive gray. The children, once so lively, grew pale and listless, their laughter replaced by quiet sighs. Margaret herself developed a persistent, hacking cough from the dampness that now clung to every surface. Without proper ventilation, without the cleansing power of sunlight, mold began to creep insidiously along the walls, a dark, spreading stain. The very house that was supposed to be their dream, their safe haven, had, by cruel irony, transformed into their prison. But Margaret's personal tragedy was far from unique. Across the length and breadth of England, thousands upon thousands of families were forced to make the same heartbreaking, soul-crushing choice. Entire neighborhoods, once vibrant and open, plunged into an artificial mad darkness. It was the poor, as always, who suffered most profoundly, condemned to live in windowless hovels, their health and spirits slowly eroding, while the wealthy, with their grand estates, could simply pay the tax without a second thought, their lives untouched by the gloom. This oppressive and ill-conceived window tax, a levy on the very essence of light, endured for an astonishing 156 years. For 6 long generations, people lived in unnecessary imposed darkness, simply because someone in power believed that taxing light was a sensible way to fill the royal coffers. Today, if you ever find yourself wandering through the charming ancient towns of England, look closely. You can still see the silent, poignant evidence of this historical burden. Those bricked-up windows, like closed eyes on the weathered faces of old buildings, stand as a stark, enduring reminder. They tell us that sometimes the true cost of a seemingly simple policy, a decision made in a distant parliament, isn't merely measured in pounds and shillings, or in economic figures. No, sometimes the real cost is measured in something far more fundamental, something truly invaluable. It's measured in light itself, and the human spirit it nourishes.
Let me get red special age lady.